Joining us now on KUTV2 News, one of the most recognizable on-air personalities in all of sportscasting, especially for those that join us here on CBS. Jim Nantz joining us. Jim, Brian Schnee, it's a pleasure to be speaking with you. Obviously, you're no stranger to Salt Lake City, having worked in the local TV market. What are some of your great memories from your time here in Utah?
Oh, Brian, there's too many to cite just one or two. I still have a big part of my life that resides there in Utah. I came to the market right out of college, and listen, my career was launched in Houston as a college student, but it really in many ways began right there in Salt Lake City. I still maintain a home up in the Park City, Deer Valley area, and all of my rooting interest in sports remain with the teams that are in the Beehive State. So I pull for all of them, all the schools and universities, the Jazz, and man, it was just such a great place. And of course, it gets down to things that are beyond just the beauty of Utah. It's the people. You know, the people are always the difference maker. And I was treated with such love and open arms, and I still am. I'm grateful for having the opportunity to have a big part of my life there.
Jim, how did working here in Salt Lake City prepare you for your other roles at CBS Sports?
Good question. I think that the anchoring part of it was really key, and I was the number 2 anchor over at KSL and backed up Paul James. You know, in those days, Paul James and Marcroft over at your station, they just dominated the market. And I was just a young kid, again, 23 years old. But I knew that the dream was to work for a network one day calling games. And I got the opportunity to call games in that market. Again, fresh out of college. I did the Jazz with Hot Rod Hundley for a couple of seasons. And not only that, I got to do the BYU football and basketball television package, play-by-play. And I worked those games with Steve Young on the football side and Steve Craig on the basketball side. And that was, to me, the difference maker. I can't speak on behalf of CBS, but I think it really made a huge difference when they started recording my shows and my broadcast, unbeknownst to me. And I got the call out of the blue after 2 years to come to New York to audition. And I won the audition. And listen, the market gave me every opportunity to try to pursue my dream.
Given your experience in Utah and your love for the state, there's been a lot of discussion about trying to bring another pro sports franchise to Utah. Do you think the Salt Lake City market would do well with either Major League Baseball or the National Hockey League?
I think on both fronts, the city would do really well. I mean, just look at the way the city has embraced the Jazz. I was around in the old Salt Palace days, and I mean, Utah is much bigger. There's a much bigger corporate presence there, which you need when you're going to have a professional sports team. Back in the days when I worked at Jazz, we had 30 of the 41 home games at the Salt Palace, and 11 of the home games were moved to Thomas and Mack, the basketball arena in Las Vegas, and we beamed all those games back to the Salt Lake City market. But things have changed, and all you have to do is say, okay, well, what have they shown us? What is the market shown us? And the market has shown everyone that the Jazz and the Jazz placement in the Utah sports landscape is massive. And I think that it would work on both fronts. And I've been reading about recently some talk about a Major League Baseball team coming. I'm hoping it comes true. If it comes true, I think that I'd be a season ticket holder. I wouldn't be able to go to many games, Brian, but I would do everything I can to try to support the effort.
Well, it'd be great to get you out here. I think another topic of bringing another thing back, or at least adding to where Utah is now, would you like to see Salt Lake City, this market, this area, get another Winter Olympics?
No question. And you know what? We will. I'm going to talk as a member of the community, even though I'm not there full time. But I fully believe that everything is in place for that to happen. I can't wait for that to happen. I think that's got a great chance of being accomplished. And I look forward to being there as a spectator and cheering it on. I mean, look at our facilities and look at the embrace that we had the first go around with the winter game. So that's next up. I hope we get the go sign on that sometime soon.
Hey, let's focus on the bread and butter for a little bit, the National Football League. Are you excited for the lineup on CBS this season?
Very much so, Brian. It was announced last week, the NFL schedule, and Tony Romo and Tracy Wolfson and I will open our season with the NFC champion Philadelphia Eagles at New England. And then it's a heavy Kansas City lineup with the Chiefs against the Bills, the Chiefs against the Bengals, Christmas Day with the Chiefs against the Raiders. There are other placements with Mahomes and the Chiefs in our primary national windows. And of course, the main game that we have is we have the Super Bowl coming up down in Las Vegas in February. So that's always something to look forward to when it's your turn. We rotate, as you know, with the networks, and it's our Super Bowl year. And believe me, you wake up every day thinking about it, even this far out.
As you mentioned, the games at Allegiant Stadium in Vegas, do you expect this big game to be a little different from your last, which I believe you called at the height of the pandemic?
We did. We were in Tampa, and they did allow some healthcare workers access to the Super Bowl, but by and large, the seats were filled with cardboard cutouts and to give it a presence. And we went into the game with Brady against Mahomes. I mean, it was just an ideal matchup. Sadly, the game got out of hand early. Tampa beat them up pretty badly that day, and poor Patrick Mahomes, he never had time to throw the football. The offensive line just got completely manhandled. And the game, as a result, was not anything that memorable, that exciting. But you also lack the excitement of having a stadium filled with fans. And, you know, we look forward to having that in Las Vegas this year.
Well, we're excited for the National Football League to get back underway on CBS. You mentioned Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson. Over the years, you've worked with so many folks in a color commentary or a co-host sort of role. Who's been most influential to you over the years wearing the other microphone?
Well, you know, I've never been asked that question. I really haven't. You know, I have to look at it from just pure age grouping here. I'm now kind of the senior guy that tries to bring along the analysts, but for a lot of my life, I was the young guy with elder statesmen sitting next to me. For example, Billy Packer, who passed away on January 26th this year. Huge influence for my career, on my career, and in my personal life. He was a big friend. I mean, he delivered a eulogy at my father's funeral. Billy was family, and that was such a blessing to work with him for 18 years. Ken Venturi in golf. Those two stand out. Kenny and I had 18 years together. And Kenny actually passed away 10 years ago today. I didn't even think about it until you just asked this question. Kenny passed away on May 17th, 2013. And I delivered his eulogy. I miss both of those men, and I don't think my career would have ever been the same without having the chance to sit by them, to be by their side.
Well, right along the same topic of conversation, just recently you were sharing with Rich Eisen your relationship with John Madden. What did you respect most about him? What was it like calling him on Thanksgiving?
Yeah, we called him on Thanksgiving Day because he loved everything about pro football and the NFL, but he loved Thanksgiving football. And it just is, and rightfully so, the league's going to name the Thanksgiving games after John from this point forward. And I would call him and just tell him I was thinking of him and thanked him for what he meant to me as a young boy watching games, and later on in life being able to be his colleague. And even later than that, I got to be a neighbor of John's out in the Carmel Pebble Beach area of California. So hugely influential guy in the history of the NFL. I think he was the greatest ambassador the league ever had. You would try to think it through and say, well, what about Peyton Manning? Yeah, Peyton would definitely be up there. And we might be able to say that when Peyton's career is finally over, because he's still talking the game. So he's still in the middle of it. But Peyton, Tom Brady, you think about these guys and who casts the biggest positive light on the league. I would say right now, all time, would be John Madden. He's just touched so many people as a coach, as a broadcaster, as a guy who created a video game that is a part of the sports culture around the world. He was just a giant, and he was just a very kind-hearted guy. And proud to say that he was a CBS guy first, a CBS guy the longest, and a lot of us who still work our games, like Jim Rickoff, our producer, Mike Arnold, our director, who's been at CBS for over 40 years. They were all shaped, that their careers were definitely influenced by being around and working with John Madden. So his fingerprints are still on our presentation.
How are you envisioning the rest of your career? Have you done it all at this point? Have you checked all the boxes for you?
I would like to be able to work another, this is going to sound like a strange number, but 13 years. And that would probably cover another 2 or 3 Super Bowls, which would be great. But I say 13 years because that will take me to 2036. And that year, in April of that year, will be the 100th playing of the Masters tournament. And I want to see that. I want to be able to say at that point, I've worked 51 Masters. I'm at 38 right now. But in 2036, I'll be able to say I saw half of the first century, and I was there for the start of the second century of the Masters. That's my career goal. We'll see. God willing, I'll have a chance to do that. But all I've ever wanted to do was work at one place. Since I was 11 years old, I wanted to work at CBS. I'm not one of these transfer portal guys you see in college athletics. I'm not looking for a deal. I'm not looking to do something to try to maximize anything. I want to be around the people I want to be around, work with the kind of people that I'm so blessed to work with at CBS. And, I started at CBS in Houston at both the CBS radio and television affiliates, and then I moved to Salt Lake to the CBS affiliate, and then I came to the network, which was my ultimate goal since I was 11 years old. And I want to play this thing out for another 13 years to 2036, and that's the goal. I've always been a goal setter. I will say this, Brian, time's moving pretty quickly. It's going to be here before we know it. And I would like somehow to figure out a way to slow it down because I want to savor every single second of it.
You and me both. It's hard to slow it down after calling nearly 4 decades of hosting the Masters. This weekend on CBS is the PGA Championship. How does that tournament stack up for you? What do you look forward to for this tournament?
I can't wait. I'm calling you right now from Rochester, from Oak Hill. This place is stunning. It is so beautiful. I went through a recent renovation, and when you tune in this weekend, you're just not going to believe what it looks like. I know people are saying, don't get carried away, Jim. It's just a golf course. But it's a masterpiece. And, we have all these young hotshots that are going to be gunning for this major title, from Jon Rahm to Scotty Scheffler and Rory McIlroy and Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth. Hopefully he's got an injury with his left wrist. Hopefully that will be okay. Xander Schauffele, and everybody's here. 99 of the top 100 are here, and this is the thing that really gets the juices going. Major championship golf for me, and big Sunday afternoon football games on the NFL. It's exciting. It's exciting.
Jim Nantz, kind enough to join us here on KUTV2 News ahead of the PGA Championship this weekend. Jim, anything else you'd like to say to your friends here in the state of Utah?
That's an easy one. I just want to say thank you all. When I walk through an airport, almost without fail, I have someone come up to me and say they're from Utah, and they say some very gracious things. They thank me for always remembering Utah and for being a part of it. And all I can say in return, I am so proud to be able to say that Utah has been a part of my life and that it continues to be. And again, it's the people. The people have been profoundly important to me in my life, and I'm just grateful. I love the fact it means so much to me that Utah claims a part of my career, that my career was launched there. And I feel equally as proud of that I could say that it all started for me in so many ways right there in Salt Lake City in the great state of Utah. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the state, but I'm in love with the people.
Jim, a pleasure to speak with you today. Thank you for the time. I know you're busy, so thanks for a couple minutes.
Ryan, thank you. I thank you for having an interest to even call me. You've made my day extra special, so thank you very much.